Crispy, soft, rich, intense, full of flavor, full of texture. Man, it just keeps going. Detroit pizza is legendary, and that's what we're making right now. Roll the intro. Hi everyone, I'm Chef Alex Glazik and welcome back to Eat the World and my pizza series. Now I've been making pizza since I was 16, but later in my career, after I graduated from the Cordon Bleu cooking school, my career sort of took a turn into the realms of fine dining for quite a while. But even when I was serving up canapés Prince Charles in the Tower of London, there's still pizza in my heart. There are so many different styles of pizza all over the world and even within cities, but today we're going to tackle Detroit pizza. Now my family moved and lived in Detroit for quite a few years. Detroit has some pretty badass food. Detroit pizza to me is a perfect reflection of the place. The original pies were baked in steel trays that were used to carry auto parts. It doesn't get much more Detroit than that. So today's pizza is going to be my respectful version of a classic Detroit pizza. We're going to be using some amazing ingredients with a couple of little twists. If you don't know, Detroit pizza means business. It's a square or rectangle shape, usually with a thicker crust, and it's kind of built upside down. Cheese first, sauce on top. So we're going to make a thicker yet light pizza dough using our Biga method, using a strong bread flour instead of double O pizza flour. This will give us great structure but not be as tough as we are cooking the pizza thicker. Now before we begin, please smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I have a lot of amazing pizza content coming up that you're not going to want to miss. And please consider checking out my Patreon page. A couple of dollars would make such a difference to me and it'll help me support and grow the channel. It also gives you access to some behind the scenes content, and a lot of my recipes will be featuring there first before I release them on my main channel. Okay, Detroit pizza. Let's get started. Oh my guys. Check out this amazing Biga pizza dough that we've made for our Detroit style pizza. Look at that. How beautiful. Now we're just gonna measure out our dough balls, or a ball, since I'm just making one today because this is an epic bit of pizza and I'm gonna use the rest of the dough for something else. Just wetting the work surface and wetting my hand so it doesn't stick, because this is quite a high hydration dough. So we've got about 615 grams for our dough ball. That should be beautiful size. So now we're just going to, as usual, just shape our ball. We're just gonna give it a few nice folds. But you see how, even though this is a high hydration, it's not very sticky very much at all right now. So let's just we're just gonna give it a few layers of structure, and then we'll do this pulling in towards us technique, give us some tension on the surface, and then we're just gonna let this warm up. Let it warm up on the counter and let it prove for about an hour or two while we get our toppings ready. So this is the tray that we're going to bake it in. So we'll just leave that there, cover it up, and we'll get to it. Okay guys, so we've got about 500 mils of my all-purpose pizza sauce, which I will link down in the description. Now this is made with San Marzano tomatoes. What I want to do to add to this is some more San Marzano tomatoes that I'm going to crush up in my hand. Now the reason I want this is I want to have a bit of texture to this sauce. So just go ahead and use your hand and crush this up. We don't have to make it super fine, we want to have some texture and contrast. Give it a good stir and mix them up. And then we're going to move on to the next garnish. I absolutely love these spicy pickled peppers. They're perfect with pizza, so we're just going to slice up a bunch of these to go on top at the end. And then finally at the end we're going to top the pizza with some Pecorino Romano, which we're going to grate up. And also just here I've got some Grana Padana as well to grate. We're going to start building our pizza now. So we're going to start with plenty of olive oil. There's no oil shyness in this pizza whatsoever. I always think of Detroit pizza as your extra friend. It's very much an extra pizza. So we're going to grab our dough now and spread it out evenly into our pan here. Try to shape it into the best rectangle that we can. But this is going to take a little bit of maneuvering and we're not going to get it all in one go. So my strategy is to shape it, and then we're going to let it rest a bit, and then we're going to shape it again. Get a bit of oil on our hands here. Okay, so that's our first stretch. We're just gonna leave this now to rest for about 15 minutes, and then we're gonna, it'll prove a little bit, and then we're gonna stretch it a little bit more just to fill in those corners, and then we'll be sweet to do the toppings. Okay, so we've let our dough relax a little bit, and you can see it's naturally just formed its way into the corners. If you need to, just give it a little tug. But it's a really good thing to let the dough rest before you try to bake it. I've seen a lot of the Detroit pizzerias, they do pan them up and they let them rest and then they continue on garnishing them. So that's what we're gonna do. We've left it now, and I have to say, it looks spectacular. Look at those bubbles in this. This is gonna have the most incredible structure. It already does. Okay, let's get on to it. First things first is I wanna put a little bit of, Detroit pizza is really well known for having that cheese that's sort of baked in around the outside. Well, I wanna put a bit of this Grana Padano that we've grated up earlier just around the edges. Just because it's got such a lovely flavor and it does crisp up nicely. Then we're going to have a little bit of our Wisconsin brick cheese, which goes as well. It's very traditional. If you haven't got that, just use some mozzarella, but we're going to use a couple of different kinds of cheese on this. If this were Rachel Ray, the audience would be going crazy over the amount of cheese in this dish.
And then finish it off with a nice drizzle of wine and cheese sauce. The cheese literally coming out the sides. Look at that. I know. I mean, who likes cheese balls? I love cheese balls. Cheese balls. Some Parmigiano or Pecorino cheese with a lot of Swiss cheese. Take a piece of provolone cheese and nest it in the meatball. The cheese! Better, baby, better! Woo! You need a fair amount of cheese on top.
Double cheese! Oh, double cheese!
Hey, you want some of this cheese on the top?
Yes, please, give me some cheese.
Oh, more cheese! Let's add some cheese. Handful of cheese. Farm cheese. Cheese! Cheese!
Okay, just above that layer of cheese, we're gonna put a nice thin layer of sopressetta because I really, really, really love this stuff. We're just gonna layer a thin layer onto there. And I do want to put just a little bit of mozzarella around the edges as well. And on top, we've got our nice sausage, our chorizo sausage. So I'm gonna put some, and do a little bit of a layer here, and then I'm gonna put the sauce on, and then I'll put just a little bit more. Now it's time for our chunky pizza sauce. So we're gonna spread, and this is a Detroit pizza, so it doesn't have to be crazy fancy. We're just gonna spread a few layers onto here. So we'll put a bit more of our chorizo now on top. A little bit of Grana Padana on top. And just a little bit of mozzarella. Just so we can have that contrast. Okay, and in we go. Our oven's as hot as I can possibly get it. And it's going onto the pizza stone. And let's go.
3 hours later.
Oh my. Look at this pizza. That is pretty spectacular. Oh man, I wish you guys could smell this. It is amazing. I'm gonna let this sit for just a minute. Look at the bubbling. It's fantastic. I'm gonna let this sit for like just a couple of minutes, and then we're gonna take it out of the pan. But we're not finished yet. There's more to go on this pizza. Let's get it out of the pan. Oh look. That's the beauty of all that oil. Whoa! It just slides out like a sledding down a hill. Right, let's move this over. Look at these edges. That is so perfectly Detroit pizza. Let's spin this around so we can see a bit better. Amazing. Oh, I'm so excited by this. Look at that beauty. So these are exactly the kind of components that we wanted in our Detroit pizza. We wanted these crispy, cheesy edges, that texture, that different level of cheesy baked flavor, that caramelization. This is exactly Detroit pizza. I wanted to have some nice, fresh Pecorino Romano sprinkled on top of it, and our pickled peppers, nice and spicy. And I also wanted to put on some pickled red onion, because if you think about it, this has got like, honestly, this should be served with defibrillator paddles. Not insulting it, but this is a really rich pizza. It's got lots of meat, it's got lots of fat. It's super tasty, but it's very rich. So I want something to cut through all that. A little bit of fresh Pecorino Romano, because it's got that, instead of that cooked taste, I wanted some fresh Parmesan style flavor. I want spicy, because there's nothing better than a rich food with some spice, but these are vinegary and spicy and full of flavor. Sharp onion on it with some spice. Everything about that is a recipe for magnificence, and that's what we've been aiming for, and that's what we've got today. So let's finish garnishing this, and then we're gonna cut into it. Not too much. Put some of our pickled peppers on this now, and some of our pickled onions. Look, we're done. How beautiful is that? Here we go, here's our Detroit style pizza. Came out super amazingly well. What I love about this is there's so many strong flavors, and I love strong flavors. So you got chorizo, you got sopressetta, you've got Pecorino Romano, you've got the Grana Padana, you've got these pickled onions and pickled peppers that are spicy as well. Strong flavors, which I adore in this pizza. And that dough is super light and fluffy. I don't know if you can see that there, but it's super light and fluffy and crispy on the outside. We've got that cheese on the border there, and it just came out amazing. So I'm really happy about that. So we're gonna give this a try. Guys, I can't even. Oh man, this is just so good. I'm not even exaggerating here. Detroit style, made with our 100% Biga. All I can say is you guys need to try this. Make it at home. Comes out even, it came out wonderfully well, even in my crappy motorhome oven. Anyways, so I'm gonna tidy up and wrap up. Guys, again, please, I think this is definitely worth a like and a subscribe, and if you guys feel up to it, please check out my Patreon page. Any little bit, like a couple of dollars, can really help support me and this channel grow, so I would really appreciate that. But I'm gonna go enjoy this. Thanks so much. Like, subscribe, wonderful things. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. God damn, this is good. Those onions and peppers on here, fuck me, it's good.